beautiful office manager at the beginning of it. Like I had an amazing team of like 8 people, and then like all of them but one left, just with like jobs and partners and things that happened during the pandemic. And I replaced everybody. And there were times where we were missing certain energies that I'd had before that really made our office flow. And so
Mm,
I couldn't almost put the language to what was missing in the practice when I would
right.
look to hire people. And the greatest gift that this book gave me was knowing these energies by name and looking for them to hire. So that's
Mm,
how I'm using it. I just hired someone and I could tell what would practice needs based on the test you can have this company do for you that shows you what you have in abundance and what you may be lacking in your business as far as these
right.
characteristics in human beings. And it showed, I knew what I was missing instantly when I started reading the book, and I was like, that. And it was actually a surprise. So there was that too. So this book is, I think, brilliant at seeing what is required to take anything from start to finish in a business, really.
Yeah,
So
very good. Yeah, and
perfect.
it's these six types of working genius, right? There's the genius of wonder, the genius invention, genius of discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity. And so it's the idea behind it basically is that each person within a team is going to have basically two of these geniuses, right? Or they're
Yes.
gonna have two things that they're really naturally good at. They feel alive when they're doing them. It's where they really shine. Is that kind of the way that you think about it too?
Yeah, it seems like they're joyful in it. It's easy and they're joyful with it. It's their natural state, like the enablement people, the ones that just want to help.
Yeah, exactly. And so let's talk about these six types. The genius of wonder, right? So that's that natural gift of pondering the possibility of greater potential opportunity in a given situation. I found out that this is one of mine, right? This is
Ah, of course it is.
so I love to think about, well, I wonder if, right? I wonder if how could we do this better? What could we do to accomplish this? It's really the first part of work, right? The first part of work is starting to wonder how you could do something better. And then from there, it's the genius of invention, right? The natural gift of creating original and novel ideas and solutions. This is once you start thinking about how could we do it better, somebody needs to come up with some ideas on what you could do to make whatever it is you're thinking about better. And then there's the genius of discernment, the natural gift of intuitively and instinctively evaluating ideas and situations, right? So this is the people that they can take ideas and they can look at them and start to think about them and say, okay, this one's good, this one isn't good, this one fits with our brand, this one doesn't fit with our brand, and so forth. And then the genius of galvanizing, the natural gift of rallying, inspiring, organizing others to take action, right? So now you know what you want to do. Now it's getting everybody rallied up, excited about what you're doing so that you can actually accomplish it, right? And then that genius of enablement, as you mentioned, the natural gift of providing encouragement and assistance for an idea or project. These are the people that really, once they know what the plan is and they know the direction that you want to go, they jump in and start to really equip and encourage and support everyone to make sure that it gets done. And then that last piece is the genius of tenacity, natural gift of pushing projects or tasks to completion to achieve results. Found out this is also one of mine. I love
Um,
checking boxes. I love getting things done. So I love starting and finishing, right? So that's kind of my thing. And so what was yours, Christina, when you went through this assessment?
I was wondering if you could guess them. I kind of find it
Mm,
interesting to try to guess people's now before they take them.
yeah,
Can you tell?
let me see. Hmm. I mean, I would think you have the genius of tenacity.
So did I, but I don't. That was the thing
Really?
that this is the thing that was the most fascinating. I'm a very tenacious person. Like,
Yeah.
I will make sure things get done, but I don't
Yeah.
love it. I
Mm.
have lists and checklists and everything to do every single day, and I like accomplishing it, but I am the genius of invention. Somebody says
Okay.
this, and I weave 1,000 things together, and I have the first 4 as my the 2 that I'm at, the genius of invention and galvanizing. I love motivating, inspiring, keeping people going, like, that's my jam. And invention, I'm always like, "Well, I wonder if we did this and this," whether it's with the body or the business or the other businesses. I love that. The thing is that I forgot to say in the beginning, Bill, is you don't want someone doing, because there's the things that are their genius, they should be doing 80% of the times, the things that are their competency, and they should be doing that 20% of the time. And really, if you have people doing the two of these that they hate, they will be unsatisfied and move on from the position. So the reason I was like a grumpus a little bit during the pandemic was because I became the office manager in part because we didn't have one. And as we were looking for one, I had to do the tenacity, which was literally like ordering things and making sure we didn't run out. Like I'm used to being the head doctor and hiring and all those things. So I didn't love it. I can do it, but I didn't love it. And it wasn't even like, I'm competent, I guess, at it, but it was not joyful for me. So finding that I hired a new office manager who is incredible and who this is just like her breathing. She does not like galvanizing though. But so each one of my assistants, I was able to see, and the new doctors that we're hiring, I knew we needed more tenacity in the practice because none of us had it, but the new office manager, and she had to like complete, and I will make sure it gets done, but I don't love it like she did. And that was the fascinating thing is I never give up. So that was really weird to find out that my gifts are something else, but I have also woven corrective care with NUCA, with applied kinesiology and like vectoring based on muscle testing. Like I've woven a lot of things together that would be considered an invention, basically, right. So I love doing all that. And galvanizing. I don't love like ordering supplies and making sure we don't run out, but I will if no one else can do it, but that was the thing is, now we're having a new associate doctor start tomorrow. And I could tell the minute I met her, I could tell what she had. I knew she had tenacity in the way she answered an email and the way everything she's just so organized. It's sort of a natural, peaceful state for her, I think. So I think it's such an interesting thing that you can each have your gifts, that the gift of enablement, which is the helpers, are often overlooked. And that's not looked at as a genius. Yeah. That was fascinating to me. Because I have my front desk is like, just let me help. Do you know what I mean? And my last associate doctor, he was just a helper of magnitude. And to be around that energy is such a blessing. Yes. You're the one with the ideas, but someone wants to go, okay, and they'll just run and do it. It is often overlooked because it's not considered like a genius. So this really showed me a lot about how to be more grateful, I think, for every one of us and our gifts in my team. I think being full of gratitude and respecting everyone's gifts is such a lovely energy to bring to any part of any relationship, basically, but definitely in practice or team or your patients. Do you know what I mean?
That's a great point. And I think that I've done the same thing. It's easy to overlook. I think the enablement genius, like you said, even the discernment genius, maybe, right? So it's not as flashy, right? It's like the people that are coming up with ideas. It's like, oh, look at them. They're innovators, right? They're making it happen, right? But my director of operations, who's been with me for almost 10 years, she is a genius of enablement, and like you said, she is incredible at coming alongside others and getting, making things happen, right? And so that is a huge reason I can point to that as part of our success, is that because I come up with, I'm wondering and I'm making sure things are getting done, but she's the key at those in-between steps, right? And so in your practice now, like as you said, you're hiring specifically thinking about these geniuses, right? And so so when you as you said, you bring on an associate, that's good to hear. I know you've been maxed out trying to run your practice without any associates recently. So
I just didn't find one that was amazing, and then you can't hire one that isn't going to thrive in your practice, really.
Yeah. And so this really, the understanding of these geniuses has really helped you in your practice to really, hone in on what you need, right? Like what you actually need within the practice to make it work more effectively. Is that what you're thinking?
100%. I think the nice thing about, like, you pay $25. I could tell a lot of these, I could have probably done it without it because I got these concepts so fast. And I met with my team right after I read this book. We all took the test, because it's $25 per person to do it, like at their website. And that was just like, boom, fast. I didn't have to think hard about it, and it gave us great information. And then you can pay, I think, extra for the team one, which shows you literally each genius and where it's covered and where it's not. So if you're adding teammates, who to add. Or in the case in the book where I think it was like they didn't have somebody that was good at galvanizing in their thing. And they realized their CFO, who just sat in an office doing numbers all day, was like, hey, I like doing that. And their whole
Right.
business took off in another direction because they took someone that was already within the business and really worked on their genius.
Yeah,
Like put them in a
absolutely.
place where they could shine, you know?
And the whole idea of this too, let's talk about kind of how it is applied in your practice. Like what are some of, take an example of how you've used these 6 types of working genius, either on a project or on a day-to-day basis when you're seeing patients. Like what are some ways that you've applied some of these principles and making sure that people are in the right situations on a daily basis when it comes to their work?
Well, it's funny. It was actually surprising to find out that my front desk person, who's very much an enablement person, who's very much helper, let me run and do whatever you need, basically, and shines like with a bright joy. She's like a heart on legs, you know? And it was surprising for me to know that she had wonder because I never, like, she didn't have the space really to be like, I wonder what we could do about this. She really didn't have that space in the practice. And it wasn't surprising to find that the person that happens to go over care plans with people most also had a galvanizing ability. So the new, it wasn't surprising at all to find out that the new office manager I hired had tenacity, or that the one that had left had tenacity. She still does the one that left still does my payroll and 401k and is about to help us with like social media marketing and things as I have a little more space to do it once we've hired and trained the new doc. But I just love when people are doing the thing they love. That's like fun people to be around, but
Yeah.
they were doing a special event. I'm the one that goes, I wonder if we should, I do have wonder, me and Miranda, a couple of us. And then I'm the one that goes, let's do all these things. And I could do my own discernment too, but I love having other feedback. And then galvanizing, I'll say, okay, you do this, like everybody do this on a big document that we all look at every day because I'm too busy to lead them by like what has to happen, Sorry,
Right.
I'm making like confusing, but in the E-Myth Revisited, how you have
Yep.
to be 3 things if you're a small business owner: the visionary, the technician, and the manager, or you have to hire people for all these. So that
Right.
visionary part of running a practice, which it sounds like you're really good at that too. So it's like being the visionary, but it's really lovely to have people that are the managers that have tenacity that take it over the finish line for you, so you can focus on patient care or leadership or training new doctors for me, I love having it changed everything for me to look at this because I could see where we needed to fill in gaps of tenacity. And the new doctor we hired, her test says galvanizing and tenacity. So that's like beautiful for an associate doctor to have that, I think, or a human being. But, all these are beautiful, but that's for sure what our practice was looking for.
Exactly. So yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, there's a book, you can get this book and then you can get the assessment. And that, as soon as I read the book, I was like, okay, I'm giving this assessment to my whole leadership team. And we did that immediately. And then we got, and then I was able to get the team map, as you mentioned, which was really nice to be able to see. Basically, it shows you all the assessments on top of each other essentially, and shows you, kind of where you may be lacking in your team, where's the areas where you're not as strong. So then you can be thinking about, okay, this next time we hire, we should be hiring someone who is, who has these geniuses so that our team can get stronger and we can do work better. That's really what it's all about. It's like, we're all going to do work. So why not do it as good as we possibly can, right?
And joyfully. I mean, I think that's part of the main thing for me is the fact that then you have a bunch of happy people doing the thing they love that they naturally excel at. They feel good about themselves. It's a rewarding position. All of us want to have great people stay longer, because it's just ease. When somebody great is there long term. So if they're happy, they're more likely to be there long term.
Well, and that's a really good point too, because if you're in those working frustrations on a regular basis, then the people that you've hired and you have you put them in these positions where they're constantly frustrated, then you realize like you set them up to fail, right? It's you've calling them to do something that they're not great at and that they're not going to have joy in, and then you wonder why it's not working, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
And
I mean,
so a lot
yeah.
of this too becomes, I think it's importance of matching it together. Like as you mentioned with an associate, bringing an associate in with a doctor, with a clinic director who is, that they're going to be able to do the things that maybe you're not as great at, or as you don't have those same geniuses, right? Is that kind of what you were thinking of when you brought this associate on? Like, I'm good at these things, so I'm going to focus in on bringing this person in who's good at the other parts of working.
That's 100% what I thought of. And I thought it'd be great to have someone that was great at galvanizing and tenacity. I've had in the past wonderful people that were great at wonderful and invention and discernment that really helped us next level our NUCA corrections and our NUCA
Mm,
corrective care, because we take pre and post full spine x-rays and change curves where it's possible. And it's really like no one else is really doing that, to look at this vector changes this. So I had some really beautiful people that were really great at invention, discernment, and wonder. I mean, I
mm.
think a lot of people, it's interesting. I don't know that they talk about it in the book about if some of these are more heavily like in the population found, as opposed to
Right.
like some are less, I don't remember if he says that. And this, I didn't reread the book because I forgot I'd given it to somebody, like when you asked me to do the podcast, but I pretty much like memorized it because I loved it so much. I was
Yeah.
like, this is so good.
No, I
I
don't
just,
think they got into that specifically, like the percentages of, which one of these are
right.
more common in the population. But yeah, it's I don't know, are you finding that, like when you're having people take the assessment, your team members or associates that you were considering, were you seeing one compared to the others?
I didn't even ask until I didn't even do the test till I found one that I knew had tenacity before I tested her. So I think part of this magic is of this information is you can perceive this in a person's personality. And if you already have the like language and understanding of what your business is looking for and what will make
Right.
everyone in the business succeed more, because our business has bonuses on targets that we hit. So if we do one better hire, it affects everybody positively, similar as if there's one person that isn't working out, it does change the energy of the whole team. And so I'm very protective over wanting us to have great energy at the office and enthusiasm and caring for our patients. And that's I'll safeguard that, including from
Yeah.
myself. So, but just to make sure that we're all there, present, caring. And I think that anything you could do to stack the deck in your favor for more joy in your business is better for yourself and for the patients.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned this too, before we started today, you talked about how important enthusiasm is
Yeah.
to your practice just in general. And I'd love for you to talk more about that. Like what have you found, over the years, 21 years in practice, is how important enthusiasm is?
Like 100 billion%. So, I think it's an interesting thing because we work with human beings. And we work with human beings that are hurting a lot of the time, until they get the care they need, and their body can heal itself and everything. Um, I think there can be days where everyone's having a miracle and days where everybody's not having a miracle. And so and cranky. So I think you have to just be so enthusiastic about what you're providing. And like Simon Sinek would say it's your why, but like I like making people happy. So whether it's with a joke or a book information or consciousness um or with a NUCA adjustment that helps their whole life change because they go from like to like wee. I just
Right.
think anything you could do to help lighten up someone's life is great. So like I think all these things we have to like the enthusiasm, I think it sails you through the harder times is what I would say. If you remember, like, if you just keep going, frankly, if you just don't give up, it gets better like all the time because things seem horrible sometimes. And then you're just like, oh, why am I doing this? And then you just go, because I'm doing it, because I love it. You have to remind yourself. It's not always easy being a chiropractor, a doctor, a business owner, a human being on planet Earth. Do you know what I mean? So I think the enthusiasm, the joy of it, and anything you could do to like again stack that in your favor where there's more joy in your corner with great people around you loving what you do makes it so if there's a rough day you go there's tomorrow, and then you have fun the minute you start adjusting people or you hang out with your team again.
Yeah, absolutely. This too shall pass. This should be something that we all
Oh
think
God.
about when we go through something difficult. We have a hard day. It's
Mhm.
you got tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day. So, um, you know, I love this conversation. I love talking with you about books that are impactful for your practice and your life. And so, before we wrap up for today, Christina, is there anything else that you really think that be beneficial for our audience to hear?
Well, I'm kind of obsessed with his other book right now too, if I can just say it. Um,
Sure.
the Ideal Teammate, and it has a free test online for this one too. Did you read that one yet?
Ideal team player, that one?
Yeah, that's what it is. Ideal Team
Ideal
Player.
team player.
I
Yeah,
think we brought it to
absolutely.
work,
Yeah.
right?
If they people that have listened to this podcast for a while will know how much I love Ideal Team Player. I talk about that one a lot.
I
It's
missed
something
it.
that we use a ton in our business. Yeah. Humble, hungry, smart. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Making
But the
sure that
Miracle
you're hiring.
Morning,
Yeah.
the Miracle Morning, we've talked about that before. The Energy Buzz. Profit First was also a great book about shifting money mindset. There's so many good
Yeah.
ones, you know. Yours too. I just got my new copy in the mail.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And there is, and that's really what, if you don't do anything else when it comes to your business, to continually expand your mind by reading books and listening to podcasts. I mean, this is just, it's amazing how many books that have made a huge impact on me over the years in my business, my life. And that's why I keep reading books, right? Like you got to keep reading.
They're like, I mean, it's pretty incredible that you can buy this thing for like $15 or whatever it is and have
Yeah.
it like revolutionize your business. Just because you take the couple hours. I was at the beach this summer when I read it and I was like, oh my God, this is the information I was missing. Like, that's the thing. Like, the just keep going. Look for the information that will change your life. You never know if it's a book, a podcast, or like you walk down the street and run into somebody, you know?
That's right. Yeah. I always say to our team is leaders are readers, right? And if you're a
Mhm.
leader, you run a company, you have an upper cervical practice, then you need to be reading. So you're learning, consistently learning, and encouraging your team to read as well and to learn. And so absolutely. And so again, I always appreciate your time. I'm glad we didn't get interrupted. We thought we were going to, but we're okay. We made it through. And I
Whee!
appreciate you so much, Christine. I appreciate you being on the podcast again. And yeah, if you doctors out there, if you haven't read The 6 Types of Working Genius by Patrick Leoncini, highly recommend it. Get the book, get the assessment, learn from learn what your working genius is so that you can have more joy in your practice. And also, if you love this content we produce, like it, subscribe to it, share it with your friends, tell people about it. That helps us help more people and helps us grow more practices. So again, thank you so much, Christina, for all your time today.
Thank you. And thanks for doing this, Doc.